welcome back. And guess who's in the house? There he is, right there. Tim Elbert's with us today. He's from the Four Seasons Nursery, and we're here to take your phone calls about what is and is not going on in your yard. And the phone number is 776-5770. I had a little bit of a brain freeze there. 541-776-5770, and that's the number to directly connect you to the studio to talk to Tim. And when you call in, your name's going to happen. What are we giving away, buddy?
We are going to be giving away a Coral Cove rose.
Coral Cove.
Coral Cove. Yes.
And there's a picture of it for those watching on the... Man, that is beautiful.
Absolutely a beautiful rose. Very, very fragrant. It's a smaller version, so it's kind of miniature, not really miniature. It is in the Easy Elegant series. So it is bred for thicker foliage and glossier foliage. And that makes it more disease resistant and insect resistant. So it's one of those plant it and forget it roses.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, so fantastic, beautiful color, and fantastic fragrance, really.
All right, I better write that down. Give me the name again.
Coral Cove.
Oh, Coral.
Yes.
Cove.
Coral, as in coral.
Coral. Coral Cove Rose, okay. And pink, huh?
Yes, it's the buds kind of have a yellowish underside opening to a kind of a pinkish, and they change as the flowers age. So you get a little orange in there, hence the term coral. And coral, the color, not coral, like lots of people singing together.
Okay, got it. All right, well, listen, here's the number, 776-5770. If you have a question about what's going on in your yard, we're kind of coming to the tail end of a very hot season, and it hasn't been easy to deal with. I just basically, because I have a well, I just gave up my lawn. Why spend water on it?
Yeah, you know, I won the Darwin Award.
The Darwin Award.
I did. I won the Darwin Award. That is proof that I evolved from a monkey.
Really?
And if anybody wants to know how I did that, they can come take a look at my lawn.
Really? Wow.
Well, I'll tell you all about my my experience with my lawn.
Well, you know, I felt we're all trying to be conscientious of water.
Yes.
And we should be.
Yes.
I mean, it's serious out there. It's as serious as it's ever been. And for those of us on wells, it just got harder and harder. And I thought, man, it looks like I live in Tucson, Arizona someplace. There's just nothing out there, you know. And it's just high and dry. But I thought, well, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'll have to talk about that later.
But anyway. Yeah, well, definitely, yes. And if anybody has long questions, we can answer the long questions. We can talk about that. You know, my lawn is a do as I say, not as I do type of situation.
Okay.
So,
all right, here's the number, 776-5770, and your name's going to go in the hat for this beautiful Coral Cove Rose. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's go to the phones, and we'll start with Roberta. Hi, what's going on with your rose, or your tomatoes? Excuse me. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, what's going on with your tomatoes?
Well, we have only had a couple of we've only had a couple of blossoms, and they only one tomato all season.
Wow. Wow. Well, you know, in most situations that I've seen, the tomatoes have been doing really well. So if you're not getting a lot of blooms and you're not getting any tomatoes, you may need to feed them, increase how much you're feeding them with. I would use a product called Tomato Tone by Espoma. It's special made for tomatoes. And that should help out a lot to get you some more. Is it growing really good? Is the plant looking really good?
Oh, she dropped off. Okay.
Yeah, that's generally, you know, tomatoes, depending a lot on the variety. So we have two different types of varieties when it comes to tomatoes. You have determinate and indeterminate. Determinate tomato plants have to reach a certain size, then they stop growing and start producing. And they produce lots of tomatoes all in one shot. And that's great for people who do canning, or if you're growing them commercially, because you just go out there and harvest and you're done. But most of us in our home gardens like indeterminate tomatoes. They continue to grow and continue to produce. So you go out and you harvest a few tomatoes, you use those, you go back out the next week and there's more. and as far as an indeterminate tomato goes, you've got to feed them on a regular basis to keep them growing. The more growth they produce, the more tomatoes they'll produce.
Okay.
So that sounds like that's what's going on in that situation. So
I also know that you like to keep the water a little lean with tomatoes, but in this heat.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Tomatoes produce the best when the temperatures are right around the mid-90s, mid to low 90s. And so when we start getting above that, we see fewer flower production. They start to go under a little bit of stress. So you can see a little bit of drop off on that. But, you know, there's still, you know, should still be getting some good tomatoes.
All right, 776-5770. Hi, Debbie, what's going on? Oh, you want to know how to fertilize your lawn?
Yeah, is there anything you can put on right now without burning it up in this heat to get it green?
Yes, you can. We use a product called Classic Lawn Fertilizer put out by Fertilome, and it's a slow release, and so it's a non-burning formula. You can put it on. I even put it on at double the recommended dose without burning. So it's a very, very safe one to use this time of year. So if you need to feed your lawn, if you haven't fed your lawn in the last 6 to 8 weeks, it's a good idea to feed that lawn. You want the lawn to be strong because it is under some stress from the heat. So keeping it strong will help it to avoid other issues, other fungus and insect issues.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay,
You're
thank
welcome.
You. All right, here's the phone number, 776-5770. When you call in and ask your garden question to Tim, he's with the Four Seasons Nursery, your name's going in the hat for a beautiful Coral Cove rose. For those watching on the Dove TV, you'll see it. They're absolutely gorgeous, very fragrant. And who knows, you could be the winner of that. So give us a call with a question, 776-5770. Well, we're still battling some heat.
Yes.
And the tomatoes, that was a good question because I've been watching the tomato. I actually had to give our tomatoes a little bit more water because it was so hot.
Yeah, definitely.
We're on the south side of the house, and that's really hot.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, typically the tomatoes love our summers here, and they do really well for us. But we've had a hot, dry summer and definitely have to keep them moist. We don't want them to fully dry out. We're finding that if you allow them to dry too far, you will have more trouble with the blossom end rot. So low amounts of calcium and too dry gives you that blossom end rot. So keeping them a little bit more moist. You don't want them to be really wet, or else you end up not getting any ripening on the tomatoes.
All right, let me see if we can squeeze in a couple more calls before the break here. Let's go to Janet. Hi, Janet. What's going on with your rhododendron?
Well, I have one rhododendron that's beautiful and another one that's completely brown except for tiny, tiny little green tips. And I thought it was water. But one of them's doing fine, so I can't. It was the water, the irrigation ditch water was not working for a while, and one of them survived and one of them didn't.
That
so
could.
Is it a bug?
Well,
or is it, water?
well, you know, just like humans, plants will take stress differently, and so if both of them went without water for a period of time and one recovered and the other one did not, that doesn't surprise me. You know, they all have their own personality, I guess, and so they're going to react differently. If you still have some green on it, there's a good chance that it will fully recover eventually. So I wouldn't go yank it out yet. But as far
I mean, it's like almost, you know, over 6 feet tall, and there's tiny, tiny little green at the very tips of each one of them, but the rest of it's completely brown dead.
Yeah, so the green at the tips means that it's alive all through the stems, because otherwise, if it wasn't, those tips would not be green. And those tips are those are the buds for the next spurt of growth. And so with those being green, there's a very good chance it's still alive. So again, I think I would just hang on to it. As far as whether or not it's insect related, you will know that if your other one starts to go downhill. But I don't think so. It probably just is from that water stress from before.
And I can strip all the brown off and it won't hurt it?
Yes, yeah, you can trim it back even if you want to. Expect that you may lose some bloom depending on the variety it is. You may lose some blooms for next year, but to clean it up and get it to looking good again, have at it. You can do that pruning.
It's right out my front window.
Yeah. So you're probably going to want to clean it up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. 776-5770. When you call, get your name in the hat for this beautiful Coral Cove rose that Tim has brought in. Somebody's going to win this this morning. So the best way you do that is give them a call and ask a question. Get your name in the hat. Melanie, hi. What's going on with your hydrangea?
Hi. I have climbing hydrangeas.
Okay.
And I put them up on trellises on a fence to make some privacy screens. And they're not blooming. I've had them up for 3 years. They just started kicking off growing pretty well, the green stems, and climbing up the trellis. But do I expect them to bloom and when?
The climbing hydrangeas can take a while to begin to produce flowers, and it can take several years sometimes. They have to reach a certain age of maturity, and once they reach that age of maturity, then they'll start to bloom. And the older they get, the more blooms they're going to produce. One thing with climbing hydrangeas, be careful with pruning. So don't really do any pruning on them if you can get away with not, because that will stop them from blooming as well. They get to be quite aggressive and grow quite quickly. So you make sure you have plenty of room for them. And once they reach that point, then you'll start to see some blooms coming on, and it'll get better and better. Trust me.
3 years is not long enough?
Did you start from like a 1 gallon size?
Yes.
So yeah, 3 years is, you should get some blooms maybe next year.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to coming out and picking up that beautiful rose.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to you coming out and getting it too.
All right, thanks, Melanie. All right, let's squeeze in Darlene real quick before we take a break. Hi, Darlene. What's your question about your hydrangea? Are you there?
The hanging baskets, are you there?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I have 5 Saphinia baskets. 2 of them look amazing, not quite as great as the Timinator's masterpieces. But then I have 3 that aren't doing near as well. And they're all right there together. I was listening to the conversation about the rhododendrons and wondering, maybe those 3 have an attitude. I mean, they got their own personalities. They just want to perform. 2 of them have the smaller blooms and real intermittent blooms, and the other one has kind of a yellowish color to it.
Okay. So the one with the yellowish color is probably getting too much water. That's what we see with those. And you can give it a little iron and cut back a little bit on the water and see if that helps to bring it back out.
Okay.
The smaller blooms is usually a heat issue. So once it gets hot, the flowers tend to come out smaller. And it could be just the variety. Are they all the same color, same varieties?
It seems to be more specific to the lighter colored flower.
Yeah, so each individual variety reacts differently to the heat. So we'll find that in some of our baskets too, where we'll see some flowers will get quite small in the summertime, and then once fall hits and we cool back down, those flowers get larger. So it's probably just has more to do with heat than anything. But just maintain your good fertilizing practices and keep up with the budworm spray. They have been very difficult to control this year.
Okay. So then once a week fertilizing, once a week spraying, and
Yes.
then when it gets hot, does it help to water them twice a day, except perhaps for that one that's yellowing on me?
Yeah, it's helpful, but my suggestion is that you check them before you water them a second time.
Okay.
All of our big baskets still get once a day watering. Sometimes I wish we could get back out there and do the cities, twice a day, but that's impossible. So bigger baskets, you can probably still get by with once a day watering, but smaller ones, I would definitely consider twice a day.
Okay, perfect. Thank you much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see if we can squeeze in one more before we take a break. Hi, Jenny. You got a kale with bugs?
I do. They're very interesting little grayish-white bugs that at first I thought maybe they were going to be aphids, but when I hose them off with the water, they fall to the ground, but they jump up and fly, but they only really attack the kale, and I have no idea what they are or how to get rid of them.
They jump up and fly away?
They do. They're not aphids.
I don't know what that is. If you could bring me a sample in a sealed plastic bag, we can identify what's going on. But regardless, for the kale, for control of insects on there, one of the best things to use is some diatomaceous earth. And you just sprinkle that on the kale, dust the plant itself with it, and that should take care of any insect problems that you have. And the diatomaceous earth just washes off with water. So so of course you have to reapply it if you get it wet, but it makes it nice because then you can just rinse it off in the sink and away you go. And diatomaceous earth is really non-toxic to humans.
Right. Well, these little bugs seem to like it underneath the leaf, so I don't know that would help those, but I like the idea, and yes, it would definitely be a sealed plastic bag because there's hundreds of them on this one plant.
Wow. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what it is. It just kind of escapes me now what that might be, but yeah, it'd be kind of nice to see that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
All righty.
All right, the phone number is 776-5770, and when you call in with a question, your name goes into the drawing for a beautiful Coral Cove rose that Tim has brought in. It's beautiful, incredible fragrance, and kind of a yellow base with a pink on the edges. Just gorgeous. And who knows, you could win that. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with Tim Elbert. Tim Elbert heads up the Four Seasons Nursery, and if you've never been out there, you're missing it. It's gorgeous. It's out on Highway 62. So you go on out and get off on Vilas Road and just slip over on the frontage road and go up about a half mile. You can't miss it. And all the beautiful hanging baskets and the landscaping flowers and everything. He brought in today with him a Coral Cove rose, and this is absolutely elegant. And the fragrance is wonderful. And this is kind of like a no-hassle rose?
Yeah, they call them Easy Elegance. It's a whole series of varieties of roses, and we have several of them. But yes, the Easy Elegance have a thicker leaf, a more glossy leaf, which makes it more difficult for insects and diseases to attach. So it makes them very, very easy to care for. So we call them the plant it and forget it type roses.
Okay. So when you call in, 776-5770, your name's going in the hat for that rose. All right, Sue Grace, you've been very patient. Thank you. And you tried the Tim upside down tomatoes?
Yes, I would like to know what advice do you have on those, and do you have any, do many people have luck with them? I'm disabled, and I can't really get out in a garden and dig around, but I'm a tomato lover all the way.
Well, my advice is don't do it.
Okay.
Success is, nah. They were a novelty thing, the tumbling Tom or something like that. I think I don't remember what they called them. But anyways, this planted upside down in this container and you'll get all this, and it doesn't really work. So instead of doing that, do your tomatoes in containers. You can even go with 5-gallon buckets with drainage holes drilled in and some good potting soil, and you can put tomatoes in those, and it works fantastic. Large nursery pots or anything that you can use to plant them in, that you can put some good soil and allow it to drain, and grow them upright, and you'll have much better success.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for waiting. Okay. Jan, hi. What's going on with your chart?
Yes, bugs.
Bugs?
And I have no idea. My chart is just a skeleton full of holes that don't even get very much. And it's just something is obviously eating it. I cannot find any bugs whatsoever. And I've tried putting the Sluggo Plus, which is organic, down around it, and it doesn't seem to be doing any good.
Okay, so you have lace leaf chard, right? So there are caterpillars that can eat those too, and the caterpillars aren't necessarily drawn towards the baits. And so you may need to continue to, even though you have the Sluggo Plus, which has the spinosad in it, you may have to do some sprays with that as well. And I would suggest that on a weekly basis to control any of the cutworms or anything like that that could also be causing that problem. And I think that should solve the problem. But yeah, earwigs and cutworms and things, they love chard. A lot of things do, including slugs and snails. The Sluggo Plus on the bottom, and then spraying with a spinosad, and that should take care of just about any other problems you have.
What about diatomaceous earth? Sprinkling it on the, I'm organic only.
Yes, well, and the spinosad is organic, but the diatomaceous earth would work fine as well. The main thing with that is you could dust the foliage, dust the plant with that. If it gets wet, you'll have to do it again, because once diatomaceous earth gets wet, it's not effective. Diatomaceous earth works by cutting up the insects that cross through it. And so it actually forms like almost a barrier to insects. And the insects, their blood doesn't clot. So once they get cut, they bleed to death. And so it's a nice, slow, painful death, you know. It's great for insects, yeah.
It'll kill earthworms too. That's why I'm always careful about using that.
Yeah, once it gets in the soil, it's not very effective. So you don't have real problems with the earthworms. And again, once it's wet, it's just not effective. It won't do any cutting up at all. It has to be dry. So that's the point with that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Jan. All right, let's see let's squeeze in one more. Hi, hey, Lori, how are you? What's going on?
Well, I planted cauliflower this year. First time ever I planted cauliflower. I planted 6, and the first in the row grew fast and very big. Next, and the very last one never really grew. But when it began to flower, the big one, the inside, it doesn't look like cauliflower. It looks like a bouquet of little bitty flowers, and it's strange, and I have no idea what I did.
Wow. Is it reseeding itself?
Yeah, it could be. If you put cauliflower in too late, then it will bloom before the head produces of any size. And we call them cauliflower because that head is a head of flowers. And if left on long enough, those flowers will open and you'll get a bouquet of flowers instead of cauliflower that you can eat. So this being such a hot year and it being such an early spring that we had, it doesn't surprise me that your cauliflower is blooming before the heads form. And that's probably what your problem is. You could put cauliflower in right now by seed or by starts, really. It's getting to that point. And if we have a nice, cool, long fall, you'll have a great crop of cauliflower right around November.
So it sounds like I could just pull these out and replant?
Yes. Yeah,
okay,
that would be my suggestion.
That. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Lori.
All right.
All right, 776-5770 is the number. And again, you may want to get your call and get your question in. Your name will go in the hat. Somebody's going to win this beautiful Coral Cove rose right there. And beautiful. Kind of the no-nonsense, no hassle, plant it and leave it alone plant. Doesn't get any better than that. And it has a great fragrance. What other flowers you have out at the nursery? What's going on out there?
Well, we're just starting to bring in some of the fall stuff. So the ornamental cabbages and kales are coming in. The mums and asters.
Wow.
There's a lot of great perennials that are blooming now. The coreopsis are looking fantastic. The canna lilies are in full bloom right now, including the really nice black-leafed ones. Roses that are blooming right now, and oh goodness, lots of stuff, yeah.
Okay, let me go to the phone and again, get your name in the hat, 776-5770. Hi, Marianne, what's going on?
Good morning. I have 2 huge escalonias in the front yard there, and they've just gone nuts. They're established plants, but they are so large and they're taking up so much of the width and the breadth coming out. Do I have to wait till those are done blossoming before I can trim them back, or when do you trim these back and how much?
No, you can prune those at any time and you'll be just fine. Cut them back as far as you want. I've actually cut some to just inches above the ground, big 6-8 footers cut clear to the ground.
Yeah, this is what these are. They've gone up about 8 feet.
Yeah, you could cut them clear down to the ground and they'll come back. So how far doesn't really matter. Just go as far back as you need to, and they'll flush back out. Yeah.
Should I wait till they're done, till the blossoms are dead on them, or just leave them?
No,
just leave them alone for now.
You can prune them anytime. It doesn't matter. The blooms come on new growth. So the more new growth that you encourage, the more blooms will come on. So by pruning it back, you'll get some new growth, and they'll still bloom after that.
Okay, and then I wonder, I planted 2 new rhododendrons in the spring, and then this heat came, and the leaves have just gotten really brown, and they're brand new babies. They're just, about 3.5, 4 feet tall. Should I leave those alone, or do you fertilize those now, or just leave them alone?
Yeah, I would not fertilize those now. If they're suffering from sunburn, find a way to shade them. If you have to build a little frame and throw some cardboard up or something like that, just to give them a little shade away from the sun, that will help the stress off of them, and they should start to do a little better. But consider them for maybe a cooler location and transplant them this fall.
Okay. Well, what about transplanting that now? What'd you say on that one?
You may want to also them to a shadier location. Not all rhododendrons will do well in the sun here. So put those in a shadier location, but you want to do that this fall. Wait till probably October for that.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. 776-5770 is the number. We'll take a quick break. Get your name in the hat by calling in to Tim with a question. Four Seasons Nursery out on Highway 62. You get off on Violets Road. Can't miss it. Go up a little bit. And they're open sometime?
9 to 5 daily right now.
Okay, 9 to 5 daily. I knew it was something. Okay. Anyway, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back with Tim Elbert. He heads up the Four Seasons Nursery here in Southern Oregon, and they're open from 9 to 5 every day. And when you call in, your name's going in the hat. Somebody's going to, in the next few moments, is going to win this beautiful Coral Cove rose. Just beautiful. Has kind of a little bit of yellow, then it ends up being pink. The no-hassle plant, they're calling it. Plant it and walk away. Let it take care of itself. And it's beautiful. It's got a great fragrance. And here's the number, 776-5770. Now, Tim has self-proclaimed himself the Darwin Award, and I'll have him explain that in a minute, but I want to take a couple of these calls here. I have no idea what he's been putting on his cereal in the morning. Hi, Sue. What's going on with your veggies?
Hi. I'm pretty sure I have powdery mildew on the leaves. And so I've been spraying them weekly with neem oil, and it's not keeping it under control at all.
Right.
Oh, gosh, right?
Neem oil is a fantastic organic material. It works best as a deterrent rather than as a curative, though. And so it's some of these very hard to control diseases, the neem oil is just not enough. Now, if you're getting new growth that's not getting powdery mildew, then that neem oil is doing its job. But otherwise, if you're getting new growth and it's getting powdery mildew, then it's time to switch it up and go up a notch with something maybe not quite so nice.
Okay, so what would you recommend?
We would recommend a product called liquid systemic fungicide. And you sprayed on the foliage or watered in, but in this case, I would say sprayed on the foliage. That should take care of your problem.
Oh, okay. And so, at your shop there, what do you call it? The brand, whatever.
Well, the brand is Fertilome, but it's the product is just called liquid systemic fungicide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simple name.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. All right, 776-5770. Do you sell slingshots, 22s, and shotguns?
No, but I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Well, Lindy's got a problem with beetles, squirrels, and blue jays. What's going on, Lindy?
You got it right. We have a big tree that the blue jays are decimating. We have squirrels on the bird feeders.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst thing is we have these, what my husband calls box elder beetles. They're black with red stripes on them, we call them love bugs, because they get hooked up all the time.
Yes.
What can we do about the box elder beetle?
Well, that's a great question. The birds that are in your tree, they're there because there's a great supply of insects for them to eat. So don't discourage the birds. Let them eat the bugs.
All right.
Box elder beetles are really not considered a plant pest because they're not really harming the plants. And so they are more of a nuisance type thing. You can do any kind of sprays, any kind of contact kill sprays like malathion or pyrethrin, permethrin, any of those contact type kill will control those guys. But the key point is contact. You've got to spray it on the insects for them to die. Like I said, though, the birds are probably doing a better job than you might think keeping those little bugs under control. Because, yes, they do tend to produce quite rapidly.
They really do.
They're attracted to maples. And so if you probably have a big maple tree, and that's what they're there for.
Actually, they're all, my husband grows hops, and we won't get into that, but they're all over his hops, and he's really unhappy with them. They're like sucking on them or something. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's not that's not normal. I don't know that they would actually go for that. So I have no answer there other than just any of the contact kill insecticides for control. As far as the squirrels and the bird feeders, physical barriers are about the best thing you can do. I actually saw a video, I think it was on YouTube or something like that, of a squirrel trying to get after a bird feeder, and they had put grease on the pole. And that was quite entertaining.
I did it. The squirrel hung on 2 feet on the pole, 2 feet on the feeder hanging across, and just not pecking. I'm watching all these blue jays out in my yard. There must be 10 of them. But it just hung across there like little acrobats. I did get a slingshot, but now I need to take lessons in aiming the slingshot because it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
But the squirrel.
Well, listen, if you put grease on the bird feeder stand, let us take some pictures and send it to us.
Yeah, we want the video.
Okay. I'll try and do that.
All right, thanks, Lindy. All right, see you later. All right, let's go to, hi, Beverly, thanks for waiting. What's going on with your tomatoes?
Yes. My tomatoes, as they get turning red,
turn your radio down.
the bottoms, when I get ready to pick them, they are all rotted out.
Oh, yeah. Now, that is caused by blossom end rot. And blossom end rot is caused by mainly a calcium deficiency in the plants. Now, calcium's not readily absorbed by a plant except in certain forms. So you can come in and get some of the blossom end rot control that you can spray on, and that will help solve that problem. And of course, not for the tomatoes that are on there already, but for new ones coming on. That's what I would do this time of year. Next year, when you go to plant your tomatoes, add a good handful or two of bone meal in the hole when you plant, and that'll help control that issue.
All right. All right, thanks, Beverly. Let's go to Paul. Hi, Paul. What's going on with your aphids?
Well, I have a large tulip tree, and every spring we get this thing full of aphids. And I have tried sprays when it was a younger tree, but now this tree is 30 years plus, and it's very large. I've also tried some fertilizers, like Job stakes, to help fertilize the tree to give it a boost. But every single year, this tree gets these aphids, and then it drops its leaves generally in June, quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. You have a tulip tree. That's your problem. Now, not to be confused with magnolia. A lot of people call magnolia a tulip tree. That's the one with the nice, big, beautiful flowers on it. But the tulip tree that you're talking about is a liriodendron. It has tulip-shaped leaves, and it will also have a greenish flower with kind of an orange center. So for those who are listening who may not be understanding, we're talking about liriodendron tulip tree, and they are notorious for aphid issues. And so in the early spring, just before the buds start to swell and come out, you want to use a systemic called tree and shrub insect drench, I believe is what it's called. And you have to use quite a bit on a tree that size, but it will last for a whole year, and it will systemically control those aphids. Another good, if you don't want to use systemics, another good way to do that is to use ladybugs. You want to get some ladybugs, get them up in the tree, and they will help keep those guys under control. And you'd be surprised at what a $8 package of ladybugs can do in one tree. So,
okay, well, yeah, thank you.
All righty.
Thank you. All right, 776-5770. We've still got a couple minutes left. Somebody's going to win this beautiful Coral Cove rose, and it is gorgeous. It's got a great fragrance, and it's kind of like the no-hassle plant. Put it in the ground, and it kind of take care of itself. So, got a couple minutes left. All right, so we are going into the fall season. What's happening in the vegetable garden?
Well, most people are having a great time harvesting. You know, the zucchinis are getting big, and the tomatoes are turning red. So there's a lot of harvesting going on, but we are also getting ready for those fall plants. And you can start to get that area ready in your garden for things like lettuce and cabbage and spinach and broccoli and chard, as well as you know, some room for some winter plantings of onions and garlic. So, you know, lots of things that you can do. Now, taking a look forward, if we take a look at that long-term forecast, it's kind of odd because we have the National Weather Service saying expect a mild, maybe drier than normal winter, and then we have the old Farmer's Almanac saying expect a colder, wetter winter. So I don't know what to expect. But if we end up with that warmer winter, there's so much you can do in the garden and have a great crop of plants and stuff to eat all winter long.
Okay, well, check that out. Any kind of fertilizing going on now, or is it too hot?
Stay away from feeding if you can for another month. And it will start feeding again in September. Again, if you haven't fed your lawn in a long time, hit up that lawn, get that lawn going, but just with fertilizer.
Okay. I learned something the other day about your hanging baskets.
Uh-oh.
Now, we got one of those beautiful hanging baskets, the cradle egg, and I gave it to my wife for our anniversary. Mm-hmm. And we hung it in a nice place, and all the flowers fell off. We had this beautiful green thing coming down, but not one bloom on it. So I think she ran out to your place and panicked. I moved it to a sunnier spot, and I think we put the worm thing on it. Is that what?
The boar bagworm spray?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the thing just popped out again, and away it's going.
Good. Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, the budworms have been very hard to control this year, and just because we had such a warm winter last winter, they just survived, and so they're all over. So keeping those under control is important.
All right, before I have you pick a name, how come you got the Darwin Award?
The Darwin Award, so proof that I evolved from a monkey.
Okay.
So, you know, I always tell people how to take care of their lawns. We have a great lawn care program and everything, and
you avoided it.
I didn't do it. And so the other day I was trying to get my lawn to come back, and I put a half a dozen or more products on my lawn at one time and overwatered my lawn, and now I have a brown lawn.
You killed it all.
So, yeah, so it's one of those do as I say, not as I do moments.
Okay, yeah. He blew it big time. All right, so who's the winner today?
Okay, so our winner today is Lori.
Lori?
Yes.
Okay, Lori.
Right.
Congratulations. All right, what a sweetheart, too, to have her win that. All right, they're open from 9 to 5 out there on Crater Lake Highway, the Four Seasons Nursery. Tim's there all the time. He's sleeping in the back room when he's not out watering plants. But anyway, check it out, and they have all the products that they talked about on the others. So thanks, buddy.
All righty, thank you.
We'll see you next time on Focus Today.